Someone is choking on a lie they once built to bury you, and heaven is about to make them confess it. They thought they could rewrite your story while you were still living it. They called it your downfall, but God was writing your unveiling. Buried or planted, forgotten or hidden, silenced or shielded, chosen. 1. Imagine a storm held back for years, not by weather, but by divine restraint. A trembling sky, a cracked dam, a lie so deeply layered that even its architects began to believe it. But now, the cracks are splintering, and the one who helped build the deception is starting to tremble under the weight of their own silence. This is Echoes of the Chosen, where hidden scrolls are unsealed, and voices buried by betrayal begin to rise again. If you're here, you were never just a victim of injustice. You were a threat to illusion. That's why they lied. Be sure your sin will find you out. The word is clear. What's done in darkness must be shouted from the rooftops. And the rooftops are trembling now. You felt it before you knew it. The conversations that shifted. The eyes that wouldn't meet yours. The confusion that came not from what was said, but from what was withheld. Your name passed through shadows. But even in the dark, heaven kept the receipts. Stay until the end, chosen one. Because what's being unsealed in this message may explain why you were attacked, who betrayed you, and what mantle is about to fall upon your life. The scroll is opening, and your name was never erased. It was encrypted for this exact hour, marked by the lie, protected by the truth. They didn't come after you because you were weak. They came after you because even in your silence, your spirit spoke too loud for their comfort. Your presence carried a truth that their illusion couldn't survive. So they crafted a lie, not to convince others, but to contain you. Because when light walks into a room, shadows scatter. And some people would rather curse the light than confront their darkness. You were misnamed by their fear, misunderstood by their projections. But heaven never accepted the version of you they invented. While they were weaving slander, God was weaving purpose. They didn't know that every word spoken against you would become evidence on the record of your rising. Joseph's brothers lied to their father to cover their betrayal. They dipped the robe in blood and buried the truth with it. But the robe wasn't the promise. The dream was. And dreams from God cannot be erased by human deception. You weren't rejected. You were marked. And the attacks weren't just harassment, they were confirmation. Chosen vessels are rarely introduced. They are revealed through fire. Somewhere in the spiritual realm, your name was whispered in the presence of those who served deception. And the lie they formed wasn't their idea. It was an assignment, designed to stop what heaven already saw moving in you. The truth? You were never fighting against a person. You were confronting a system afraid of your arrival. And yet, like Moses hidden in the river reeds, or Esther behind palace walls, you were protected in plain sight. God let them build the lie because He knew it would become the platform for your truth to rise. He let them carry false reports, so when the truth came forth, no one could take credit but Him. You were misrepresented on earth, but fully known in heaven. And that's the only record that matters. So breathe, because the lie did not define you. It revealed you. When the room fell silent, there is a pain deeper than betrayal. It's the silence of those who knew the truth and said nothing. You expected the attack to come from enemies. But what broke you was the silence of friends, the ones who watched you burn and held their buckets of water behind their backs. But even in that silence, heaven was not absent. God records silence like He records speech. And when the scrolls are unsealed, neutrality will not be treated as innocence. In the courts of heaven, silence in the face of injustice is considered partnership with darkness. Job's friends tried to interpret his pain, but none stood between him and the accusations. Jesus stood in silence before Pilate, but not because he was powerless. Heaven's strength is not always measured in words. Sometimes the silence is surveillance. You weren't abandoned. You were hidden in the stillness. While you waited for someone to speak, God was listening to hearts, not mouths. Some remained silent because of fear, others because your fall benefited their rise. But silence doesn't last forever. And now, the same quiet that once protected their complicity is cracking open. One voice is about to break. One mouth that helped build the lie is trembling under the weight of divine pressure. The silence wasn't absence. It was divine surveillance, and the watchmen never slept. Refined by the flames they lit. They thought the fire would consume you. They didn't know it was the only way gold reveals itself. The betrayal wasn't random. The rejection wasn't accidental. It was a furnace, authorized by heaven, fueled by human cruelty and guided by divine purpose. Every time they lied about you, a layer of fear burned off. Every time you were isolated, you were being recalibrated. Every tear became a lens. Every ache became an altar. Like David hiding in caves, anointed yet hunted, you were not being broken. You were being built. They thought they took your power. But what they actually did was remove the noise. And when the noise is gone, only the voice of God remains. You didn't walk through fire. You were forged in it. This is the paradox of the chosen. The fire that was meant to erase you becomes the very thing that defines you. And while they celebrate your defeat, God is shaping your mantle. Do not mourn what you lost in the fire. Rejoice for what could not be burned. The breaking point of a withheld confession. A lie can only be carried so long before it begins to rot the vessel that holds it. There is someone who knows the truth, someone who watched the scheme unfold and helped build the illusion. But the cost of silence is eating them alive. The weight of their own conscience has grown heavier than the lie itself. The word says, everything hidden will be brought to light. That is not just poetry. It is law. There is a divine pressure that builds when truth is withheld. It doesn't vanish. It accumulates. And that pressure is about to crack the walls of someone's silence. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. Heaven calls it judgment. You didn't force their hand. Heaven did, because the scroll with your name cannot remain sealed forever. The confession is coming, not because they want to clear your name, but because they can no longer carry the weight of what they did. This is not vindication. This is divine realignment. And when the confession breaks the silence, every shadow that danced around your name will be dragged into the light. The authority you were never meant to earn, only uncover. They thought you had to prove yourself to earn authority. But divine authority isn't earned by performance. It's uncovered through pressure. You walked through the test without clapping back. You endured the lie without folding into it. You stood still while your name was dragged through the dirt. That stillness was power. That silence was thunder. Jesus didn't defend himself with words. He revealed his authority by what he endured without compromise. And now, chosen one, your authority is not in what you say. It's in what you survived. You no longer need validation. You carry revelation. Authority is not volume. It is presence. It's what walks into the room when you do, and makes the liar tremble without a word being spoken. The fire refined you. The silence matured you. And now the mantle rests on you. Heaven has crowned what earth tried to crucify, and no accusation can strip what grace has sealed. Your scroll was never canceled. They tried to disqualify you, erase your influence, cancel your name. But here's the truth. God doesn't tear up scrolls. He simply waits until the appointed hour to unseal them. The delay was never denial. The detour was never disqualification. It was timing, sacred, painful, prophetic. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before his assignment began. David was anointed long before he was appointed. And you, chosen one, have been hidden for this moment. They thought the lie stopped your destiny. but God used the lie to protect it. Because no weapon formed against your name can cancel the scroll it's written on. You weren't delayed. You were disguised. Now heaven says, "Open the scroll." You were never alone in this battle. The enemy wanted you to feel isolated, because isolation breeds self-doubt. But what you didn't know was that others were waking up at the same time, across continents, in different tongues, a global remnant, forged in the same fire. You are not alone in your story. You are part of a pattern, a prophetic thread that runs through time, linking every wounded voice that refused to stay silent. You are not the only one who was misrepresented. You are not the only one who stood in silence, waiting for truth to speak. This is the rise of the remnant. Those the world misread, those religion overlooked, those hell tried to bury, but heaven refused to forget. This is Echoes of the Chosen, and you, beloved, are one of them. You are not rising alone. You are rising with an army. The truth you carry was meant to echo. Your vindication isn't for applause. It's for activation. The truth that survived the lie must now become a voice for others still trapped in silence. You didn't endure this for a comeback story. You endured it to become a breakthrough sound in the earth. You are no longer just the one who was lied on. You are the one who walks in light too fierce to be hidden again. Let your survival echo. Let your discernment echo. Let your story echo through cities, nations, and bloodlines. This is no longer about what they said. It's about what heaven is saying through you now. The scroll has been opened. The voice has been recovered. The lie has collapsed. And the echo has begun. There is a moment in every story where the silence breaks. Not with noise, not with revenge, but with the quiet force of truth rising. Unstoppable, undeniable, unshaken, and chosen one. This is your moment. Not because they finally confessed, but because heaven already confirmed. What they tried to use against you has become your altar. What they buried you with has become your platform. And what they whispered in secret now echoes in power. Here is the final revelation. You were never under attack. You were under unveiling. Hidden not to be forgotten, but to be revealed in a glory they couldn't imitate or interrupt. You have walked through accusation without retaliation. You have endured silence without surrender. You have stood in fire and come out carrying the fragrance of oil, not smoke. The scroll is sealed now, and it reads, "You have been misread, you have been misused, but you have never been misplaced. You have been tested, you have been marked, and now you are being sent." If your spirit is still trembling with recognition, comment 777 as a sacred witness. Let heaven and hell both see. You heard your name in this message. You felt the scroll open. If a line, a phrase, a single moment struck your soul, share it below. Your echo may be the confirmation someone else is waiting for. And if you know this word was for you, if this is your scroll, your season, your assignment, subscribe to Echoes of the Chosen, because the remnant is rising, and you were never meant to walk this path alone. You are not forgotten. You are not finished. You are the next echo.